Welcome to the buy list. This is episode 61.
This is not financial advice. This isn't even cardboard. This is a tier list, baby, because we want people to click on this. Let's talk about it, Ted.
Oh man, we're not even. Yeah, you're right. We're not even hiding it. We're
No.
farming. We're farming eyeballs tonight. I think it's gonna be a fun tier list. A little different format like we like to do on the channel. But before we get into the main topic, Nate, how was your week? Was there any fab included in it?
There was. I got to go to my armory again, which is great. Got to see all the dudes play some games of Flesh and Blood. So it was blessed. I got to play Enigma because I hate actually constructing decks. It's the worst it's the worst part about a paper TCG is like actually have to like go and like physically like construct the decks. And like I was thinking, I messaged some of my buddies like, hey, I know the new Star Wars set's coming out. Like, when does that come out? Are there pre-releases? I might just like try to play a couple games. And then I realized I don't actually want to own any other cardboard. Like, I have too much cardboard in my life right now. I don't want any more cardboard, especially if a different game. I have no idea where I'd put it.
Yeah. My wife told me this week that Flesh and Blood cardboard is taking over the house. I said, no, that's impossible. But it actually is. Don't tell It's like the truth is, it actually is. It's in like 4 different rooms now, especially because I like amass a ton of bulk opening boxes. So it's I can't move this camera anywhere else, and you actually can see it over my shoulder. If I turn this camera any other direction, Nate, you guys would be like, ugh. Like it's bad. We got cardboard stacked everywhere in this room.
Yeah. I mean, like you see the background behind me. It's like it spills over. I have an entire pool table that is filled with cardboard, and it even has like a cardboard house of 1,000 counts that it's bad, guys. It's an actual problem. But here's what I can assure everyone: it's not a problem if you don't let it be a problem. So today we're going to talk about just the legendaries from like the last 4 sets. I think it will actually, so memeing a little bit, also very true, farming engagement, but like we just want to have like a really in-depth conversation about the legendaries they've been printing, the direction they're going, and kind of like compare on like where we expect their value to go in the future potentially. So like if you've missed out on grabbing some of these, like should you just wait? Because and you can just probably pick it up like at the dollar store next week or Goodwill, or like should you just be grabbing as many copies as humanly possible now because you're a cardboard gremlin? So so we've got tiers. We don't use actual tiers here. So these are the tiers that came directly from my brain. I am sorry in advance.
This is a Nate special.
Yeah. All right. So we have, excuse me, sir, how many copies can I buy? Please. Thank you. All of them. And then we have the HODL tier. And then we have, I'll sell it, but only because we are friends. I have the just eat it. Just eat it. And then the coaster tier. So obviously the excuse, like how many copies can I buy is like, this is probably underpriced right now. And you should just, if you don't have a copy, get some. If you're a cardboard gremlin, hoard them. And then the HODL tier is like, if you got your copy, great. Keep it. Don't sell. Like if you have extras, don't sell. Like just hold on to them. They might go up a little bit. They're still in like a pretty decent spot. And then I'm only selling this because we're friends is like, I've got 1 extra copy. It could go up. I'm pretty confident it won't go down right now.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're buddies. I'll let it go. And then the just eat it is like, listen, it's at a good price now. get rid of that shit, get your cash. And then Coaster is good luck ever selling this. If you can con someone into trading it for a rainbow foil rare, do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's it's a good explanation, because you needed to explain that to me when you came up with this. So it's good that we made sure to not forget to do that for the viewers. We have done that in the past sometimes, but
they figure it out.
But yeah, basically it's a scale of like, the price, do we think the price is going to go up, or do we think it's going to stay where it's at, or go down? That would be the just eat it, go down slightly. And then coasters are just like, no spoilers, but yikes, there are a couple cards in here that are just like, yeah, we don't really envision a future for them. So we'll get to those when we get to them. All right, Nate, so let's jump right in. First one up is going to be adaptive plating. We're gonna just set it here while we discuss it.
Yeah.
So right now, rainbow foil is at $24, cold foil is at $52. To be honest, when I think about this legendary, I think it's kind of hard locked. It does have some interesting perks about it, right? I think Dash IO this is a solid card in that deck. I think Dash IO is a near meta contender. I'm not going to say that she's out there like pressing even like close to S tier, but I think she's like high B tier. And you can definitely do some damage with her. And then out of all these cards, this is the only one that you need three of them for a playset.
Yes. Yeah, Dash is only going to usually ever run 2.
Yeah.
But this is definitely a card that like long term in the future could have like I think the galvanized mechanic is like very underutilized right now. Mm-hmm. And I could see this kind of like junkyard like mechanologist who like gains benefit from galvanizing. So if that's the case, this potentially becomes a 3 of, which is like, so I would put this in like the HODL tier. Like, if you don't have your play set, which is 3, go get it. Cause I think that, I think this card is only going to get better, as time goes on, because it is really interesting design space. Especially the moving mechanic, the fact that it can move. I think this card is just like one of those cards that it reads really interesting. It isn't super meta, like a big meta contender right now, but like, this is a card that definitely could be broken in the future, and you might need 3. So I would put that in the HODL tier. I wouldn't be running out to like snag every copy I've ever seen, but if it drops below, like, in a way, I think we talked about this probably a long time ago with Bright Lights. Like, if it drops below 20, it moves into excuse me, sir tier.
I always remember not even the wins on this podcast, but when I like make money on a card, I remember. And we were both, I think when Bright Lights came out, it was like $18 or something, or 15. It dropped down that low, and we're like, you got to buy these. And so like, even and I think the cold foil was down lower too. So I got 3 cold foils for like what I felt was a really good deal. The other thing I would add is we've talked about this on the channel a bit, and Evo is not a loved set. I don't think a lot of it got opened. I think, there's a lot out there. Don't get me wrong. It's not going anywhere, but it's also a set that's like nowhere near as opened as Mistveil. So if something pops off next year, Mechanologist Armory deck maybe comes out, and it uses this galvanized, like you said, like a junkyard type hero. Yeah, I could see this popping up, because I don't think there's a ton of these out there, right? And it would mech fans will vaporize these.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at Already Dead. That card is actually not played in any decks.
Yeah.
Card sucks.
Yeah.
It's it was like $45 last time I looked.
Yeah.
Card's unplayable garbage.
And it's like hard locked at $45. It's been that
Yes.
it's been that way for a while. So
it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
and no one wants to open Evo because
it's awful. Yeah.
It's not great.
Yep.
So I think we've talked enough about this beautiful card. Yep. What do we got next, Ted?
Next one up is the non-foil Tunic from Evo. Currently sitting at it's like $88, $90 right now. I think this is a solid price for this card. If you're a newer player, this gets you literally, I would say not literally, but arguably the best legendary in the game. It's generic, goes in a lot of decks. I think there's some contenders that we could talk about for best in game, but at $90, I would say it's not really going to move around too much. And I would add to the see what you think about this, but another reprint for Tunic is not in the foreseeable future, in my opinion.
No. Tunic enters reprint territory when this card goes to like, excuse me, sir tier.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry. Probably like just yeet it tier, right?
Yeah.
Like it is never gonna go lower unless it's banned.
Yeah.
And with where the price is at, I think LSS is completely fine with the accessibility of Tunic at this time. And I don't think that they will reprint it yet again, especially when there's like additional reprints coming in multiple languages. Like, because of Misspell had Tunic in it, right? Am I drunk?
Nope, it did not. There was a product, a catch-up product announced. I don't remember the specifics on it. It might have been HP1, like black border for Japanese, that was edited a bit. Oh man, I should have probably looked that up. But I think it will. Likely a Tunic in Japanese is on its way. But I mean, that's not going to affect the TCG player low for the English version.
Okay, so I'm like kind of like a card game noob. I did not realize the effect of like Japanese cards. So like I could actually see Tunic sinking potentially with Japanese HP1, but not a lot.
No.
But I also think like that LSS might just kind of like consider that like another like little like dazzling of the
Tunic, just a fill in, right?
Yeah. So I don't think it'll ever get I
think this is the floor, right? Like I don't expect, like you said, unless there's like on the basis of there's not a reprint coming in English for a while, I think $90 is the floor. I think you can probably put this in the hold tier 2, get one for your collection. I think you'll be very happy at $90 if you don't have one and you're a new player picking this up.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one up is the HyperX 3. So this one right now sitting for the rainbow foil, Nate, is $7. Cold foil is $38. The cold foil is an EA version, so it is very nice. It is a very cool EA as well. I'd like to add that in. My notes on this, I was being funny. My notes are just max things. Rainbow foil is dirt cheap, and then no future prospects. Other than Max kind of sits in the same slot as Dio, and that like I feel like he is meta adjacent. And like he could be meta, like he's not like a no hope hero. I'll put it that way, right? There's a couple no hope heroes out there. Arachne, Vincent.
I would
Betsy.
The funny thing is, I think this card's interesting. I really like this card. I wish it didn't suck. And I think this is one of the ways that LSS can try to push Max out of his I'm just gonna mech every game plan.
Yeah.
Is to try to like make a more like boost aggro Hyper X deck,
but
I don't know how they do it, because like Max is so linear right now, and I would love to see like different archetypes for him evolve, and I would love to see it be with HyperX.
It's tough one card at a time in an expansion slot, right? Unless Mech is coming out in another set in the near future, I mean, it's like one card at a time is tough to like change the whole archetype of a hero.
Yes, a supplemental product, which I miss dearly, would be perfect. You get like one Majestic, because like the other archetype might get like one or two, and then you get like 2 rares and 3 commons.
Yeah.
You can build an entire archetype with that. But alas, this is where we're at. Mech is just boosty boosts. The end.
Yep.
Sell it if you want. It's so cheap right now. The card really only has upside, so like I wouldn't be eating. There's no shot at banning.
Yeah.
So it really only has upside. Just sell it if you have extras, because you probably do, because you didn't want to sell it before.
Right. Yeah.
Only sell it to your friends.
Yep. Exactly. Next card up is Shriek Razors.
You know where that goes.
Yeah. So it's sitting at $9 for the rainbow foil, somehow more expensive than HyperX, and $35 for the cold foil. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
take any amount of money
for upside for this card, right?
No, card sucks.
Yeah.
The only thing that would ever make this card better is if there is like consistent and high value. Now, it cannot be like 1 silver per contract. It's got to be like, I'm making my bank. Like, otherwise the card just sucks. It's too expensive, and buying back 1 block on armor is just terrible. If it was a 2 block battle worn that you could buy back, whoo, baby, sign me up.
Yeah,
it's a 1 block.
I guess you're right. Like, why would you buy back this over Black Tech that gives you go again? Like, you just buy back Black Tech every time, right?
And the text box on it is so conditional that it has to be an attack action that it's reducing. Like, whatever, use it as toilet paper, but at first try to sell it to like a homeless person, and then use it as toilet paper, because you know they're not going to buy it.
Yeah. That one's like in a year and a half from now or 2 years, Nate will be like, shit, they finally did it. I remember when we made fun of it at $7.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever. If you don't have one, just buy one for $9. Like, just have it, I guess, so you don't get juiced when like.
I'll tell you what, trade it for like 8 rainbow foil bet bigs, and you'll be better off in a year. I promise.
Yeah. Okay. The next one up is, as we make our way through Evo, Nate, is Teklo Foundry Heart, non-rainbow foil. Yeah, it's a reprint. It's sitting at $18 right now. My notes are forever under $20. All mechs run it though. So like, and I think it would be hard pressed for a mech not to run this card. It's very good. Maybe if it's not like a boost mechanic or something, just buy it at $20 if you are getting into the game and you want to play mech. I would say
it's just yeet it.
Yeah. It's like, if you have an extra copy of it, like $20 is probably where it's going to sit. I think the rainbow foil is only like $25 or $23. So just
always just buy the rainbow.
Just buy the rainbow foil, folks.
Yeah, it's like the Godfather. It's like, look at what they did to my boy. It's like Teklo Foundry Heart was doing great. It was sub $100.
It was,
and then Elsa said,
I was just gonna say, I don't think it, like, I don't know. We'd have to go back and look at the data, Nate, but I think it was actually like 120, like 130, and it was pretty hard stuck at that. So it was like borderline expensive. I don't think it was like egregious like Tunic at $300 or whatever. But man, yeah, the reprint really hurt that card.
Like murdered it. Yeah. Where it slept.
Yeah, it was tough to. That's a tough one. Dude, okay.
I had an extra one too that I was gonna wait for launch, and then they revealed it, and then I got very sad.
Yeah. Okay, next up is the Warband of Bologna. This one, Nate, $17 for the rainbow foil, $60 for the cold foil. The cold foil is an EA variant, so it is very pretty.
Yes.
There's some bouginess to that cold foil. So, what's your thoughts on the Warband?
So it just got a Majestic printed in the slot that functionally works as the same thing. It's a little different. The card is incredibly strong and broken. The only saving grace of this card is it looks amazing, especially in EA. And Light Dory coming to Monarch 3 Return of Chain. So, like,
I wish that was true.
I mean, like, if we see this card pumps, if we see Light Dory, because people like their Dory, people like their bling, and this card pumps. Then, if Bolton for some reason LLs because his Armory deck, maybe we see it just drop, but otherwise it's just kind of like a stable card. I would just put it in like I would only sell it if you have an extra copy and you don't like want to sell it right away. I would just say if we're friends, I'll sell it, but otherwise I'll just keep it.
Yeah,
I'll just wait for Light Dory and profit.
Yeah, if I had a EA kicking around that I was like not a Warrior guy, I would probably sell it $60. I think that's okay right now. Okay, next up is the Crown of Providence non-foil reprint. It currently is sitting at $68. Oof, Balance of Justice really kicked this in square in the balls. The rainbow foil, my first notes is the rainbow foil is a $7 charge on this one at the moment. I think the rainbow foil is sitting at $75-ish. Pick this up. It's a solid helmet. I think a lot of heroes, we kind of live in this weird world right now where you have just a plethora of helmets to pick from. Especially with Mistveil coming out and just being like, guess what? Helmets for everybody in this set. Like, they just made it so mono fixed, right? With Traverse and Nightmare. But like everyone else is still like Crown of Providence, Balance of Justice, Crown of Providence. And right now, the balance, you like that? The balance right now is leaning towards Balance of Justice because of the meta we're in, and drawing cards is a thing right now.
So, this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think this is actually an excuse me, sir. How many do you have? Can I buy them all?
Yeah.
Before Balance of Justice was released, and we entered the Balance of Justice meta, this was a $91 card. It's sitting at $65 right now, so we're about $25 off its high. But also, when we like, the reason we're in a Balance of Justice meta right now is because the best decks are running Artifor and Bloodrush Bellows. If all of a sudden we enter this like CNC pummel meta or like weakest link pummel meta, Crown of Providence is going to look very, very good again. And it's going to swing back to probably $90 to $100.
Yeah.
We're even further away from the set being released. So, and it's just like a lot of decks right now can't commit extra space to their like an additional head slot, and Balance just covers enough, and not a lot of people are like running CNC pummel right now. Or even like CNC main deck for it to really matter, or they just have way better options. Because like right now the meta is Balance of Justice, Traverse, and Nightmare. It's like those are the only three have if you're not running those two, you're just gonna run the other three that counter, or Scowling Fleshbag to counter the KO threat. So
we've lived in a meta where Art of War and Bloodrush Bellows wasn't a thing for a very long time. Like, this is a very recent thing where like Art of War became like Art of War.deck became a thing again, right? Like there was 5 for a minute, obviously chain way back before Crown of Providence. But like this card was like the rainbow foil was like very expensive, right? And they've done a good job of like reducing it with this reprint and stuff. So we're not getting back to like pre-reprint era. But like, yeah, I think at $68, if you're a new player, you buy this right away. At the moment, you just buy the rainbow foil because it's only $7, and like Uprising was a million years ago at this point. So, like, it's going to be much harder to find a rainbow foil in the future. So I agree with you. I think you could, I think you could see some movement up on this in the future, right?
If you're like at locals and like people are breaking open their trade binders and they're like, "Oh, dude, you got that?" And you see like a non-foil Crown of Providence in there and you're like, "I don't need any of this stuff right now, but I can help you out." Like, pick up the crown.
Yeah.
Sit on it. Just wait, because it'll move back. We're gonna move back, and then all of a sudden you're gonna be able to trade that crown for a cold foil Tekla Foundry heart, because that's also gonna be $20.
Whoa. We just took a shot at Alpha out of nowhere. Okay. All right, next
I gotta make sure people are still awake.
Yeah.
Brian, you still awake?
Dude, Brian commented. He was still awake 60 minutes
Yeah.
in. What a champ. Diadem is our next one up. And
it's just like forever Dookie. I'm like, yeet it now because it went up a little bit because New Moon got released, but the card sucks. Let's just go to the next one.
It's yeah, let me just for format's sake, it's sitting at $9 rainbow foil, 33 cold foil. Yeah, it's just like people thought it. Like we thought that the Enigma was going to be award based. Turns out she was, but Traverse is a card, so yeah. And then like beyond Traverse, there's Crown of Providence, Balance of Justice. there's like 6 cards ahead of Diadem. There's like actually just a empty spot on your mat where the headpiece goes might be ahead of Diadem.
Dude. Okay, that's like actually memeing, but like even like in like UPF or something where it's like you can ask people to strategically break it. You're literally looking at like what's the bloodied oval line of equipment? What's the headpiece? The headline helm? Headliner helm?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that can potentially block 4. You're looking at that and like, wow, that might be better. So
yeah. Right. Not much going on Diadem, unfortunately. I hope that worked out for you and you sold before Mistveil came out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one up is actually, well, obviously one of my favorites, but Dyad Carapace, sitting at $33 for the Rainbow Foil Mate, $110 for the EA. Yeah, my notes on this are, at 33 and 110, we've already seen a sizable spike on this card. I was buying these at like $13 a piece for the rainbow foils, just because I was like, well, this is best in slot. I should probably just buy some of these because 13 is crazy. Yeah, we all know what's coming. Rosetta's coming next. Nate, what do Rune Blades and Wizards deal? They deal a certain kind of damage.
Magic.
They deal arcane damage. This has AB2, guys. It blocks for 2. There's Rune Blades in the next set. This is a Rune Blade card. Yeah.
Confirmed Rosetta Thorn reprint too.
Oh my god, dude.
That just triggers some people.
Dude, people like just broke out in a cold sweat. I fought so many people about that card. Anyways. Yeah, I think this one is like just at $33 you pick it up. I think you definitely buy it at $33. But it's kind of, I think it can go up, Nate. I think $33 is not the ceiling on this. I think we're as we get into spoiler season, this goes to like 50-ish. And then if these cards are or if these new heroes are like very playable, um, I think it's topping out at 50. So there's like not a huge upside to this. Unfortunately, we're doing this a little late. Like a month ago, we would have been like buy as many as you can at sub 20. So I would say I would sell. It's either between just hold on to it and wait to try to get a little bit of upside, or just sell it. Yeah, I think it's hodl. Now that I talk through it,
I think like using like a within set comparison, Scowling Fleshbag's at 38. So like I struggle to see a future where the card hits 50. Sorry, 41.
I don't think it will stick. I don't think it will stick at it probably, let me rephrase it. I don't think it's going to stick at like 50, 60 forever once Rosetta comes out. But I think as we get closer to the spoiler season, the hype of the set, I think you could possibly get a little bit more. You could get a little juice out of, a little extra juice out of the squeeze. But yeah, that's kind of why I'm putting it hold, is like if you have an extra one, well, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it is just sell now. It's already kind of seen its spike. If you got it for like $10, definitely sell.
Yeah, I think I'm not like actively looking to sell it, but like if a friend is like, shit, I don't have a Carapace, it's like, yo, I got you.
Yeah, I can get down with that.
Yeah, I just like it might spike up to 50, but like I don't think it'll ever sell at 50. I think it settles at like 40.
That's all right. It does have the EA as like the clear, better, bougie. Like the EA is sweet. It's like full character art. It's very nice. So like people, like bougie people will go after that before they go after the rainbow foil. So it's a little cap there.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, Nate, is the Rapture, Imperium Rapture. What's your thoughts on this?
Just eat it. I don't know. It's a weird card. I don't think they're ever going to print a Light Illusionist that's not Prism. Card's very strong, but being mono hero locked is rough for a card's future prospects. So like, I don't think it's like Coaster, because like you can definitely move these. And if you have the opportunity to sell it, I don't think there's a whole lot of upside for the card in general. Because we've seen Prism like kind of break out here and there, and it's just like kind of stayed pretty steady. So I think you just kind of yeet it if you can.
Yeah, it's sitting at $14 and $74 for the rainbow foil. For the cold foil. Cold foil is an EA variant, which is spectacular, just like the Carapace. Because it is a full character. Instead of chopping off their head, you get to see it all. Oh, phrasing. Phrasing.
You gotta pay for that though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's probably just yeeted at this point. Like $14, it's like whatever. All right, moving on to the next one. We are going to talk about Iron Song Versus. So rainbow foil $21, cold foil $37. Yeah, this one to me, Nate, feels, again, I'm not a warrior guy, so I'm like, I struggle to like smartly talk about this card. But I would say that we're kind of coming out of its meta, right? Warriors are not super played right now. The Boltyn deck might change that a bit, but I'd have to lean on your expertise on this one.
Warriors are just in a really rough spot.
Yeah.
The Boltyn deck provides some cracked cards. I think a lot of the equipment is very strong.
He gets arms in
Saving Grace. Saving Grace is a legitimate, why did you print this LSS kind of card? Like, it's very good, and it's like it's like collapsing trap level of good sometimes, but it doesn't have like it doesn't have the as insane of an upside, but it's just like it also just does everything that Boltyn wants it to do. So it's I would say it's like collapsing trap level of power, but you get 3 of them. So
yeah.
It's very good. I love that card. So I think it's just like, yeah, just like there's a world where like it could go up higher. Like we see like what the ceiling of Dust Till Dawn legendaries are, which is like 40-ish for like non-specific hero cards. This one is like the issue with this one is it competes with Brave Forge Tracers. So I think the cap on the card is probably closer to like 30 to 35 potentially, but I could definitely see a meta where this is like a very good solid arm piece. So I would probably put it in like I'll sell it, but only because we're friends tier.
Yeah, it's like half.
I'm not like actively looking to sell them, but I'm also not unhappy if I do.
Right. Yeah. It's all like almost mid tier there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one up is Scowling Flesh Bag. So this one's sitting right now at $41 for the rainbow foil, $53 for the cold foil. My initial thoughts on this is best in class hat for brutes. Cold foil at 53 is probably, like, in my opinion, it might be a little low. Especially since KO is still a meta player and Zen just got beat up a bit with some bans. So like KO, like I would not be surprised to see KO in a couple weeks at the Pro Tour. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think this is a really good card, and like the price kind of reflects how good it is. Like we we're just talking, it's not down in the dumps in the 20s. It's sticking around 40s, 50s.
I do agree the cold foil version is probably a little. I wish we could like kind of like break these out. Like I would probably just sell my copies at 40, 41 on the rainbow foil, but I would probably like be hodling any cold foils I had.
Yeah.
Because I think that this is probably the best spot ever for Brute, and it's hard to see a spot that they get closer. Obviously, the further away we get from Dust Till Dawn's printing, like this will like slowly start to climb as like there not many people are opening it anymore. Natural attrition in the market. So I could go on like a rant. I really love this card design and gameplay wise. But I'll save that for like a different episode. So like the rainbow foils I'm just eating, and then like the cold foils I would definitely like I would be looking to trade into them or like holding any copies I do have.
Yeah, we'll just throw it down here on that caveat. The one thing I would just say too, especially on the cold foil, is that we are getting Dust Till Dawn 3 Electric Boogaloo. I went back and looked at the IGN article sidebar for a second, and they said in that article that it was going to be the first set of 2025, which obviously could have changed, but so there is some upside there. We could see a Shadow Brute in there. That's not unheard of, or they could do something completely different. But yeah, I think at 41, I would just be.
I would be surprised if we see a Shadow Brute. I think they want to potentially expand the Shadow class outside of just Runeblade and Brute.
Please. Yes, I would be very happy about that. But I'm just saying future prospects are brighter than other legendaries with the possibility of a Shadow Brute. Or you've actually convinced me that, Savage Lands is a place we haven't been. So 2025 or an Armory deck as well could happen. Armory decks make our job much harder because like anything and everything can happen at any time. And
I mean, we've only had one new Brute printed in the last 2.5 years. So like the likelihood of us getting another new Brute is, I would say, relatively high. I would not rule Brute being in a set because we know Rosetta, and then we apparently know Monarch 3 Return of the King. So do we see like a light Brute? That would be baller.
Nah.
But like, I mean, we could definitely see like a Brute in the middle or latter half of next year, which would definitely like help this card's prospects. But
yep. All right. Sell rainbow foils, possibly buy cold foils. Soulbound Resolve. Nate, this is sitting at $16 for the rainbow foil, 37 for the cold foil. Yeah, we just mentioned it. Bulletin's getting massive support from the Armory deck that dropped as of recording. We're recording on Friday today. Yeah, this card's already seen that movement from that Armory deck pump. I've actually just a few weeks ago we're selling cold foils at 20 and rainbow foil is under 10. So I think this would be, if you have extra copies, probably just yeet them. Yeah, I mean, this is, you kind of missed the boat at this time on this card, I think.
Looking at the inventory, it is quite thin. So like if we see Pro Tour where Bolton with some of the new cards really starts to pop off, like this chess piece it's really interesting and does have like especially with the Saving Grace. Like Saving Grace is a 2 cards. It's basically Soul Shield that you don't have to pitch for. Yeah. With Soulbound Resolve, which is quite nice. And there's only 3 copies in rainbow foil before this card hits $20.
Okay, so there is possibly some movement up on this. I think there's a little bit of, there's probably a little bit of juice, but like when I see 16, it's already doubled, right? But I guess my last bullet point, I did say earlier today when I was writing this out, I said if Bolton Big Dicks on Pro Tour stream, this will go up. So yeah, I guess we're on the same page. I just should have read all my notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this moves.
Cold foils, yeet them. Yeah. I just looked at the cold foil listings. There's like one verified, like one good seller. All others are like baby sellers. And the good sellers at like $95. So cold foil, yeet them.
Yeah.
Rainbow foils, yeet it a little bit. If you want to buy one, wait. There ain't no events forever.
Yeah.
Just chill.
Yeah, yeah, you can. I think you might be able to wait this one out.
Yeah,
because of the Armory deck. Okay, next up, Nate, is Apex Bonebreaker. Rainbow foil sitting at 50, cold foil sitting at 70. Best in class for brute arms. I mean, I guess gamblers, but like I still think these are better, and I think pro players generally agree. I don't really see too much gamblers out there in the world. For 50 and 70 honestly is like where I'd want to see. I don't know, Nate, like maybe you disagree with me, but I kind of feel like 50 70 is where I want to see most legendaries in this game.
I would love it if every set LSS released 50. I think I want the cold foils to feel special. Yeah. I want them to feel like an actual investment. Like you actually have to spend real money to get these, and you should feel really special to put a cold foil down on the table. And that's not where we're at right now, which is still disappointing. Sorry, I dropped something. I'm a professional.
Just screaming that into the camera does not make it so, Nate.
Dude, if I've learned anything, it's screaming something into the camera makes it true.
Okay. You might be right. So yeah, I think like, okay, so I could revise that and say 50, 100 would be like today, though, right? Sweet spot, right?
Yeah. That's not what we're talking about today, though. So I'm just going to sell them.
Yeah.
Like we have heavy hitters hitting Japan. Like people are like frenzying for just Japanese language product. I don't long term, it'll probably go up. Very good card. But I feel like this is also one of the slots that could like this card could easily get lapped.
Yes. Yeah. I also think that over time, as we move closer to Rosetta and towards Christmas, this could leak down where it drops to like sub 40 for the rainbow foil. And like I think there's a good chance this leaks to flesh bag levels of like 41 and 50. So like I think right now it's like, yeah, I agree with you. Just if you have one for sale, just yeah, don't feel bad about selling it.
Yep.
Okay. Next up is we have the Golden Aegis. This one is sitting at $20 for the rainbow foil, $35 for the cold foil.
Eat it.
Yeah. My initial notes on this is it's a spec for Victor. Obviously makes that really tough. Because only Victor can play it. Turns out Victor's the only good Guardian. And then like maybe Victor's hanging around, dude. That dude, he sticks around. You know what I'm saying? Like he hangs
Turns out drawing cards is good. Yeah, it's I hate specialization legendaries that aren't short printed. And that's what this is. Like it's not a coaster because you can actually sell this card because Victor's good, but I want to reduce my number of copies to exactly one. I don't want any more than that. I never want any more than that because this card has like literally no upside. There's zero upside to this card. I would trade it for any other card in this category. Like I would trade two of them for like half the cards in this category. But like I rather have a Soulbound Resolve, a Rapture, a Tekla Foundry Heart, because all those cards have potential upside. If I'm like, I hate like, okay, so I have a friend who hates selling cardboard. He literally it's like he won't do it. I think he has like 12 petals. He opened like 5 of them. He opened 3 cases, opened like 5 of them. He's never going to sell any of them. Half the time I'm like, do you want me to just sell this for you? He had like 2 Marvel Angels. I was like, you want me to just sell this for you? Yeah, sure. Great. Yeah. I'll just take these. I will yeet them for you. I will give you funds. So just like, yeah, like garbage.
It's not garbage. I think it has a very specific place.
It's like bottom of yeet tier.
Yeah, it's not great.
If Victor ever LLs, it becomes a coaster.
Yeah. Also, I think if I was much higher on this card before New was printed. New is like a natural predator to Guardians, so like now Guardians have a cap, kind of in my mind. Yeah. So makes it tough. Next one up is I don't have any notes on this one, Nate. I believe this card is sitting at like $41. It's like $38 to $40, and it's been like hard lock there. This is obviously the non-foil version of it. This one is like I would just sell it. It's not going to move. Yes, every Levia player needs it. Is she meta? Depends who you ask. There's like one person in the world that would tell you she is, and then everyone else is like, nah. So just sell it if you got one. If you don't feel bad about buying one at 40, because I think that's just where it is, and that's where it's going to be.
I think it's a hodl. I like literally this like Levia has a bunch of power cards and does not have the right meta. Like if for whatever reason Rosetta or Monarch 3 there can only be one and like she gets a bunch of power, like I can easily see this card jump into because like this is the only version of the card essentially.
Yeah,
like this card was like $90 for a while after release when people actually thought Levia was very good.
Yeah, that's the thing that I would say. You're like, man, if she finds a meta, it's like, bro, she's been looking since Dusk Till Dawn. Can't find it. There was a whole set that came out that had brute cards in it, and then she also got Shadow Realm Horror. Still looking for that meta.
Okay, so
she's still searching, dude. She's out there just looking.
She was actually she was actually very good in the meta that no one ever played, which was like between, but for real, between Worlds and Heavy, very good. And she was actually very good at PTLA.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So I think that this card has like no floor. The
Yeah, I
floor,
think
like
we
the
are
floor
at
is,
the
she's
floor.
already at the floor,
Yeah.
right?
I
Like
guess
she
that's
ain't
why I
going
was
anywhere.
saying sell it, right? Is like, man,
The thing is, she's never gonna LL because she sucks. So until she gets good, and then everyone starts playing her, she's gonna sit here, and then when she starts popping off, then the card's gonna go to like $65-$70.
You do have a point. She has this card has future prospects with shadow support on the way in 2025. I'll give you that. So we can move it up to hodl. Singularity. Again, no notes. I believe this is like $30. I don't know. It's
we don't even look it up.
Like whatever, dude. It's not a coaster because it's actually a very good card and it like needs to be in the deck. But it's hero locked, obviously, and I think you just, I don't know, man. Like what do you do with this card?
I think it goes literally right next to Levia.
You know, you just like you're holding on hope that someday Tekla would be good.
I mean, the lowest this card has like ever been is like $30.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is what it's at right now. So like,
yeah, they are kind of the same card. Obviously, Singularity sees a lot less play, but yeah,
they're the same card. So if Teklo Daddy becomes meta, that card's popping.
Yeah, someday, somehow. Mm-hmm. Next up is the Balance of Justice, Nate. Okay, I do have notes on this one because it is a real card. So this one's sitting at 121 for the rainbow foil, 190 for the cold foil. Best I put best non-mystic helmets. Prices are hard stuck. I mean, this card is like, yeah. I can't really, I guess in my mind I struggle giving any kind of opinion on like buying or selling this card. I would really just say if you need it, you need it. I want to be going like, oh man, rainbow foils are going to go to 150. No, it's where it is. Like, I think it's a really good price. I think it's the price of like the best non-mystic helmet. If you're not playing a mystic hero, you're playing this helmet, or well, and brute, but
yeah, it's quite interesting. Like, I sold a copy a couple months ago at like 150.
Yeah,
and it's slowly drifted down, but the thing is, the inventory is super thin.
mm-hmm.
Like on both sides. So the further we get away from heavy, the less restock of this card will exist.
Yeah.
And then the other taxing things which we talked about with Crown of Providence was like, if we ever exit the Balance of Justice meta, then this card goes down.
Yeah.
So I would put it in the just eat it. I've actually so I was a big Balance of Justice hodler.
Yeah.
I refused to sell under $100.
Yeah.
When the set got released, people would message me. I mean, we opened a lot. I had a lot available. I was like, no, I'm not. He's like, do you have any Balance of Justice? I was like, I do, but I would go to TCG Player because I'm not selling. I waited. I sold all of my copies over $120, besides my last two, which I sold in the bundle deal. But like a card like that, it's very good. I've completely exited my Balance of Justices from my heavy hitters opening, and I'm happy with it now because I think that one's trending more downward.
Yeah, I think it's like I don't think we're gonna stay in a draw 2 card meta forever. So, and that like doesn't even mean that like KO has to LL or Zen has to LL or whatever. It like literally could just mean that the Wizards and Runeblades in the next set are good enough to supplant some of these heroes, and then they don't play Art of War, and then we're back to Crown of Providence or Traverse, right? Like, so just keep that in mind. Yep. I agree with you. We can just sell it if you need to sell one at 120. The next one up is Gauntlet of Iron Will. This one here is sitting at this is one of my favorite things to find in Flesh and Blood market. Searching, Nate. Rainbow foil is sitting at 31. Cold foil is sitting at 38. My first note is this might as well be a Victor spec because Bravo doesn't exist and Betsy also doesn't exist, but this is best in class. It does supplant Crater Fist, and I said it's my favorite thing is that it is a easy upgrade target. If you have the rainbow foil, because for whatever reason you pulled one or whatever, this is a nice like flipperoo where you buy the cold foil for $7 more and then sell your rainbow foil for $10 less, and you now have a cold foil, and you bling out your collection.
Better yet, buy the cold foil, wait. And then when the rainbow foil goes up to $50, which is where its counterparts in Apex and Grains are sitting, you sell. And then you make money and you get a cold foil instead.
Yeah. No, that's the way to do it for sure.
So like I think that like looking at its direct counterparts in set, all we need is a Guardian meta and this becomes a $50 card.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not there right now.
Yeah.
Like Betsy, unplayable garbage. Bravo will never LL. He's too depressed,
dude.
So I think this goes in like HODL tier. Like just like hold all the copies that you have right now. Just be patient, wait. In a year when Guardian finally gets out of its I call it Runeblade jail, because that's like kind of where Runeblades have been for the last like 2 years. Like you don't get anything good, you don't get to have anything fun, and now like there's busted stuff coming. That's where Guardian's at right now. It's like you don't get to have anything fun, you don't get to play the game. You played the game for too long, thanks Oldhim, and now you guys are in Runeblade jail. Sorry, you have approximately another year in timeout, and then you get to play again.
Yeah, for sure. No, totally agree. Okay, next one up is Grains, as you just mentioned. Nate, this is sitting at $47 for the rainbow foil, $59 for the cold foil. We kind of just talked about it, but what's your thoughts on this card?
I love the card. I personally love the card. Great card. Best card. I would just eat it. I think the upside, like, it's something that can be like very easily replaced in slot. It competes against Tunic, which is a little rough. And any future warrior design might not necessarily want vigor creation and might not be weapon based. So, because like we see Bolton is not weapon based. Olympia isn't really. Sometimes I don't even know what Olympia is. I'm sorry, Olympia. It's upside of like cooked. Yeah, I don't. I'm just gonna sell any copies I have extra. I'm not gonna actively like try to trade or buy extra copies. I'm just gonna eat it off of the sunset.
All right, we finally made it to the Mistveil legendaries, Nate. First up, Mask of Recurring Nightmares. This one is sitting at $24 for the rainbow foil, $107 for the EA. Actually, I'm pissed at TCG Player for this because they still have cold foils as a filter underneath the normal version of this card, and like PSA, everyone that's looking at buying some of these legendaries, go and check, because the EA is more expensive sometimes than the cold foil. It's dumb. So like you might be able to get this cheaper than 107. Um, New. Okay, so yeah, rant over. New does seem to play this more than Traverse. Traverse isn't really seeming like New just wants to get to the end game and then play her chi that she draws naturally. Typically, I think. Um, yeah, I don't know. We've done we have the data. These cold foils are rare, so I don't know. Like $24 is like so cheap, but we talked about it last week. Miss Vale is a weird set for value.
It is. We can honestly kind of do all of the class pieces together because the narrative is the exact same, right?
Yep.
They are locked to their mystic counterpart. They are all incredibly strong and must plays.
Yep.
It really comes down to not even like how meta are they, because you look at all of them, they are all sitting right around the same price. That's 28. 12 petal is like right in the mid 20s, and then the feet are low 20s.
Yep.
I just yeet them. You can keep them if you want. I just do whatever you want with them.
Yeah, the rainbow foils are like whatever. Also with the cold foils, like if you can get $107 for the mask, I would say take it right now because
100%.
They're also, like I said, because of the TCG player filtering, they're also less than that sometimes. I don't know. It's kind of a mess. But you're right. I think you just sell them at $20. Like if you pull them, you're like, "Woo, I pulled a rainbow foil," but if you don't need it, you just sell it.
This set is just like really over opened. So it will take a very long time for these to rebound, even though they are some of the strongest pieces of equipment we have seen.
Yeah.
In all meta relevant heroes.
Yeah.
These should be at the same level as Apex and Grains in like Guardians of Ironwell. But the set was over opened.
Yeah.
So it will take a long time for these cards to recover. They should be $40, $50 cards, but it will take a very long time for them to get there.
Yep, for sure. Okay. That leaves us to the last two here. I actually have them backwards, but let's talk about the gauntlet, Stonewall gauntlets. Rainbow foil sitting at $20. Cold foil sitting at $43. I don't know. We've talked about this before. I like generic gloves. I like generic equipment and generic legendaries. So I'm a little bit high on these, just for that reason. I think these are a good tech piece. I think they're a good tech piece for the meta right now. I don't think Zin's just disappearing, right? This is the bonds ban was like a lot like Seeds, where you're just like, yeah, all right, I'll just play the Tiger cards you printed. Like, I think I'll still do 40.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think he's still very good, still meta relevant. We'll see that at PT. I think he's like targetable, so we're not going to see like 7 out of 8, top 8, like bullshittery. So yeah, Stonewall at 20. I think you could make an argument that you would want to buy at 20. I think there's upside to this card at 20. I've bought some at like 15. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of like sellers and players who are just like, the card is how much? Like the inventory is like starting to get like kind of thin for the card too, compared to other legendaries in the set. I think this card honestly probably goes into the excuse me, you have how many tier? Because this is just a card that I think it's just something that's going to stay around forever. Everyone has +1s all over the place. And like, especially if you think Boltyn is all of a sudden going to become the savior of the meta. Guess what? Absolutely cucks Boltyn. You ever slide a Stonewall Gauntlet in front of a Via the Vanguard? Get ready to get racked up because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think the card is just like this card is just perma playable forever, and it isn't targeting any one specific archetype. It's not like Vambrace, which Vambrace is a $20 legendary now for one hero. It targets one hero in existence.
Yep.
And you're telling me that there's a generic equivalent that also wasn't completely overprinted to the moon with like Outsiders legendaries were, because those are all pennies on the dollar. Card's good. It will be eternally good. Pick up as many copies as you pick up copies if you'd like to now.
Yeah. I think your advice is like, if you're trying to help someone out that pulled this, like target the gauntlets, right? Like I said, I think, you know, at 20, I'm like, I always try to evaluate like how much assets I want to like trap into a card, right? So like 20 is like starting to get to my point where I'm like, but like at 15, I was like, yeah, I'll buy like 3 or 4 of these. Like, why not? Like, I'll hang on to them for a bit. But yeah, like, I think that's a good way of putting it. Like, you know, we buy and sell lots of cards, but if you're like a player just out there looking for advice, yeah, don't feel bad about trading for this card, right? I think that's a good way of putting it.
I would trade outside of Traverse. I would trade any of the other, like, let's say you have like an extra, any of the other Mistveil legendaries. I would trade any single one of them for Gauntlet. If you have if you don't want to do anything with anything and you just want to help a buddy out and they want one of those, ship it.
Yeah.
If you got a Soulbound Resolve and they want it because they want to try Boltyn and they've got a Gauntlet, ship it.
Yeah.
If you have a Teklo Foundry Heart, don't even let them finish the sentence.
Throw it
take
straight
it out
into
of
their mouth.
binder, shove it in their mouth, and then you take the gauntlet away from them. End of story.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, should we talk about the last one? Because no one's listening at this point.
Yeah. We went. I was trying to get to an hour. I was speeding up, but we didn't get there. Traverse is our last one here, Nate. Sitting at $65 for the rainbow foil, $200 for the EA. Again, I think we've talked about how pretty the EA is. Best looking card in Fab currently.
Yep, easily.
So $200 is like, yeah, that's justified. 65 feels a little low, especially. Well, I know why it's 65. It's because only Zen plays it. Like Enigma just like disappeared from the meta, and she's like never been seen since you topped 8 with her. Like you are officially the last Enigma player. Congrats, Nate. You did it. She is now on a milk carton, lost forever.
I've seen a lot of news start to experiment with Traverse in certain matchups, and I think that there's like a lot of edges to be gained there.
Yeah. Okay.
And Enigma is very good. Great hero. Maybe that's my delusion of showing. I would only sell it to like friends right now. I think we've seen this card start to push $100. I think it can easily get back there because it's played across all 3 heroes. And I legitimately think you look at, there's literally Tunic on this screen. This is the most powerful piece of equipment that LSS has ever printed. And if you have Mystic in your like text box, there's no reason to even sniff anything else.
Yeah.
Like this card is insane. It literally says like if there was a different headpiece that said tutor whatever card you effing want out of your deck and slap your opponent in the face with a freaking taco, then yes, that card would be better. Mostly because you get to assault your opponent.
This card probably shouldn't have blocked too. I mean,
this card shouldn't have been printed. I'm not joking. This card is actually broken.
Yeah.
I don't know how those other decks, I don't know how well the other decks would have functioned, but this card, Okay, so hot take. No one's listening at this point. Brian is fast asleep, drooling. 12 petal should have been generic, and the headpiece should have been Enigma.
Dude, the problem with 12 petal is like, okay, so if it was generic, you would have to pay like actual money for the Zen token, right? Like, let's say you had to pitch 3 instead of a chi, and that shit's broken. Like, if you could just pitch a blue for a Zen state token as an instant for 2 turns.
So I meant Mystic. I meant Mystic.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, you saying that should be Ninja, bro? You're absolutely insane. Like,
no. I meant like Mystic. Okay. Each hero, because then it makes it a very interesting choice between Tunic or this. Because when you transcend, you're already in your spike turn.
Yeah.
So like getting additional resources lets you spike even harder. So like what kind of really crazy shit can you do in your transcend turns?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Actually, that would have been kind of cool if like 12 petals wasn't ninja. Like they came up with a new token that almost did the same thing, right? It was some kind of like mystic defense or something. Like you.
Zen state token's fine.
Yeah, you could have left it like that, right? It would have been weird for an assassin and a illusionist to create a Zen state token, but I mean, I guess
is Zen state.
It's like Ninja E, right?
Is it Ninja? Is it a Ninja token?
No, I'm just saying like theme wise. Like they could have done it, but like,
but also like it also allows them to not print Stonewall, which then because like the chess piece is kind of the counter to Zen. The Zen state token counters Zen, which is funny and not really thematic, but
yeah,
I don't know. Hot take to end the episode. As always, I'm just full of hot takes at the end of these episodes.
Yeah. All right, Nate. I think this was a lot of fun. You weren't too high on the idea, but I think this is a good episode. It turned out well.
It did turn out well. It did. Next week we'll have Boltyn Armory deck fighting the absolute scrub lords of Talishar. Thank you for the 3.5 cats who are watching their owner's computer this late in the episode. Click the like, subscribe, tell your grandma about us, have her subscribe so it shows up on her Apple TV when she logs in the morning. Mm-hmm. And always remember, put your money where your mouth is. Meow, meow, meow.
Peace.
Peace.